Our late spring issues all have the same theme. So this year it's power and women in power.
I think probably one of my hardest days, I don't know about worst days, but one of my hardest days was the end of the Clinton administration, the last day that I was in the White House. There was a lot of joy as the president and then Mrs. Clinton, President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton were running through the various rooms and dancing with the butlers, and music was playing, and then we had the seriousness of all of the ceremony. But then it came time to say goodbye to people that I'd spent 24/7 with and around the clock, and just bidding them farewell was really difficult. The White House, as Valerie can attest to, is an extremely special place.
My best day was the night, the day that the Affordable Care Act passed. I would say early evening, say 5 o'clock, we knew that we had the votes to pass it. I'm from Chicago, so we count our votes early. And everyone is so exhausted. We've been working for weeks on end, and so I decided to go home and watch the vote on television. So I went home, and Susan Scher, who'd been the First Lady's Chief of Staff, lived across the hall from me. And we made popcorn, and we put on our pajamas, and she came across the hall, and it's like 7 o'clock, and we're sitting there in front of the television. And the phone rings, and it's Katie Johnson, who is the president's assistant. And she said the president would like for everybody who worked on the legislation to come back and watch the vote together. And I said, well, I'm in my pajamas and I'm at home. I lived in Georgetown. And she's like, Valerie is the president. I had never really seen the president other than when he got married, just beaming the way he was beaming. And so at the end of the evening, as people started to leave, I sidled over to him and I said, so how does this night compare to election night? And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, Valerie, there's no comparison. Election night was simply a means to this end.
The best days in Washington for me and for any journalist is always when there's a ton of news breaking, if there's an exciting atmosphere and you're working hard. Yeah, so I mean, there's, big political events to me, conventions, Iowa, New Hampshire, even inaugurations, have been incredible to cover, and in particular the Obama inauguration, just being out there with the excitement, politics aside, the excitement that people had in the city.
So I have to say that my best day in Washington was when I walked through the White House to meet a president. See, when we had to go to the White House, walk through those doors, I was calling my mother. Everybody, because my family is here. So everybody was so proud and so excited. So that was really special for me to walk through and meet a president. And it happened to be Bill Clinton was president at that time. So that was pretty special too.
So I came here when I was 18 from California 1 week after graduating from high school. And I was so determined that I wanted to come to Washington and join this whole political party here. You think of some of the pinnacle days or those days when you work really hard and you finally get a result, like a vote. I've been now working in this nonprofit field on education for 15 years now, more than 10 years specifically on education in DC. And it's funny because you don't get those single moments, those single best day moments, because the results take so long to come in. We have one tiny scholarship program that City Bridge runs, and the kids spend the summer working with us all the way through college, so we're really in their lives for 5 full years. The first one was the valedictorian Ed Ballou. So my whole team will be at his graduation from Emory University this May.
Do you or did you have somebody mentor you throughout your career, or during your career, that kind of you feel propelled you where you are today, and what was their best piece of advice?
I always say pick carefully your boss because I always worked for men. Well, I've had 3 bosses since then, all men, all married to very competent women and all who have daughters.
And I'd say that the community of Washington, really women are terrific about supporting one another. Now, you have to figure something out or an issue arises, you get that mass email, help. And everyone just starts diving in and the responses come in, no, don't go to them. No, you want to go here instead, or whatever.
Make a call for you, or
whatever the issue might be, exactly. Women just really are wonderful here that I don't hear replicated as much in other places in the country. These women are amazing, and you are amazing too, Elizabeth.